You're listening to Beyond Wellness Radio, bringing you the cutting edge in health, biohacking, and sports performance. Stay up to date and listen anywhere and anytime on your computer, tablet, or smartphone by subscribing on iTunes. Catch your host, Dr. Justin Marchegiani, as he answers your burning health questions as well as interviews from world-renowned guest experts. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to beyondwellnessradio.com.
Hey there, it's Dr. Justin Marchegiani. Welcome to Beyond Wellness Radio. Feel free and head over to beyondwellnessradio.com where you can access our full podcast transcriptions. While you're there, you can also sign up for our thyroid and female hormone video series. This series goes into the root cause of why your hormones are out of balance. While you're there, you can also schedule a functional medicine consult with Dr. Justin, myself, where we'll dig deeper into the root cause of your health challenges. Feel free and think of sharing this podcast with at least one person. This podcast grows by people sharing it. Sharing is caring. If you can think of one person that can benefit from this information, please feel free and share it. If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you subscribe on iTunes. You can also click below the video or podcast where you'll see the iTunes review button and leave us a review. You can also sign up for the newsletter at beyondwellnessradio.com where you'll get updates before anyone else. Thank you so much and enjoy the show. Hey, it's Dr. Justin here. Today we have Luke Storey on the podcast. I met Luke maybe 1 to 2 months ago over at the Bulletproof Conference. He's a great guy, and I think he's got some really cool things to share with all the listeners today. Luke, what's cooking, man?
How's it going? It is definitely not cooking here in sunny Southern California. We've been having a little bit of a storm spell here, which has been amazing. So I'm actually feeling nice and wintry and cozy this beginning of the year, which is great. So I'm good.
Love it. Love it. What'd you have for breakfast today?
What did I have for breakfast? I had my supercharged bulletproof coffee, which includes some essential oil of cinnamon, some Hisho Wu extract, usually some reishi extract, but I'm out of that. And then grass-fed butter and or ghee, some brain octane oil. So that's kind of what I'll drink after I meditate. But the very first thing I do is a glass of super cold, raw, fresh spring water, unadulterated, unozoned, UV'd, just right out of the mountain, which is amazing. And I have that with a little bit of sea salt and a couple drops of nascent iodine. So that's the first thing. Then I have a really nutritious but highly disgusting kind of green. You can't even call it a smoothie because a smoothie implies that it tastes good. You think of Jamba Juice or something.
Yeah.
I had a buddy of mine down here for the New Year's, and you know, every morning I get up and I want to share my routine, so I'd make him this green drink, and he honestly had like a really hard time drinking it. And that will have a couple raw pastured egg yolks. That'll have some, this is all in a Vitamix, some fermented veggies, you know, some kind of sauerkraut, something just ground up in there, bee pollen, some liquid chlorophyll, some creatine, some aniracetam.
Smart drugs. I love it.
Yeah, some B vitamins, chia. Chia is what got my friend because I want to like slow down the digestion process of all that stuff. Otherwise, it just tends to kind of run through you.
Yeah.
All this spirulina and this nasty seaweed and all this stuff. So I'll do like a chia kind of mulch, and it makes it really gelatinous and very difficult to get down. But it feels more like a meal. And I'll put some collagen protein in there. Let me see what else. What else do I put in there? Some lithium.
Nice.
Not like pharmaceutical, but the
orotate, right?
Yeah, lithium orotate. Yeah, just, you know, I'm always experimenting with stuff like that, but and then some stevia finally to kind of like make it even palatable to me. But I'm always kind of working on perfecting that, getting some calories in, because if I just do the bulletproof coffee, I'll be so much like in ketosis for the day that I won't eat, and I won't really get any actual nutrition, and I'll just be living off straight ketones and fat, or ketones from the fat. And then I'll tend to get a little fight or flighty, a little bit weird. So I like having some, you know, a little bit, some good protein and tons of vitamins and minerals, lots of magnesium, all that kind of stuff in the morning, so that if I don't eat, I'm not actually being robbed of the micronutrients.
Well, it's a good thing you have a Vitamix because, man, that's a lot of stuff going in that mixer.
Dude, it's disgusting. I gotta say, like, I would never be able to market this. It's like sometimes I'll think, oh man, I gotta come up with some kind of, stack or formulation and I can put it on the market and make a business out of it. I'm like, everything I take is so nasty and not palatable because it's so potent that it really wouldn't be, there's no way to make it taste good to get the right dosage of stuff. Like my sleep stack is really great too, at least for me and the people I've shared it with. But again, it's so nasty that like a normal person would never be able to do it.
So it's safe to say that Dave Asprey won't be calling you to trademark that shit.
Yeah, no, he's not going to be carrying that on the site anytime soon. Absolutely not. Yeah.
Nice. Well, tell us about your story, because you told me about it in the past at Bulletproof and your kind of healing journey. And everyone that's in this field has some type of story of how they got here, whether it's conventional medicine, they kind of banged up against that wall for a bit and found out it wasn't helping them. And they kind of, bounced around natural medicine, nutrition, functional medicine, holistic medicine, and they found some things that worked and got them better, which got them, really passionate about this field. So tell people about your story and how you got to where you're at today.
Sure. Well, like most human beings, I wasn't willing to really change anything about my lifestyle until my back was against the wall. And this is what I find with clients that I work with and friends and family. They're not really interested in much of my health and spiritual shenanigans until they're like at some kind of a bottom and there's a crisis. My business partner, for example, her dad was having some serious health problems. So she went and got all her labs done and found out she had some deficiencies. And now all of a sudden, after being a partner of hers for 7 years, she's like, so tell me about these vitamins, So I'm like, that's what I've been telling you for 7 years. She's like, yeah, but I wasn't ready. So my story is, I grew up in the 70s, right? I'm 45 now. So I grew up with a mom and a dad who were divorced, but were both kind of health nuts in their own right at that time. So I was the kid that like, if you came to my house, it totally sucked to do sleepovers because there were no Captain Crunch berries. There was no Wonder Bread. There was no margarine. There was no white sugar. Health food at this time was like, my mom would cook me a lot of beef liver and pork chops. And then we ate a lot of granola, man, a lot of granola. So it was like the health food, those bulk bins at the health food store and stuff like that. And thank God health food has progressed a lot. But I had an awareness of, supplements. I think when I was 5 or 6, God bless my mom, she would hand me this gargantuan handful of pills to take. And I don't know, she was kind of a hippie. She was born and raised in Berkeley. And I think she was just exposed to sort of natural foods and supplementation and stuff. And then my dad was I never like to call him a redneck because he's not dumb and he's not racist. And that's redneck implies that or infers that in some way.
Yep.
He's a really smart guy and he's a very open and loving guy, but he's like a Colorado cowboy mountain man who is into rodeos and racing stock cars. And he was just this rugged hunter, fisher kind of guy. But somehow way back in the day, even in maybe he was a little later, maybe in the 80s, he was really into health food and vitamins. And I remember when the first kind of health protein bars came out, they were those Tiger's Milk bars.
Yeah.
Those were like the first kind of health bars that were an alternative to candy bars. And he would buy those by the case. And of course, lots of wild meats, venison and elk, and even the occasional bear, which was disgusting. So I was kind of around that, but I had a lot of emotional problems when I was a kid, and there was, some traumatic experiences that I went through. Parents were divorced and just a lot of sort of weird stuff happened. And, I just was kind of emotionally and mentally disturbed and had a lot of issues in school and was essentially a juvenile delinquent and had a really hard time getting along with people and was just very isolated and sad and just not a happy kid. So as I got into my teen years, I started to develop my own version of coping skills, and I started to kind of escape through music and rock and roll. And then as that world became appealing to me, along came drugs and ways that I could just kind of handle myself socially, and developed a lot of really unhealthy kind of coping mechanisms and kind of went into my own little world. And, eventually as a teenager got some therapy and was sent away to this boarding school, and it helped me get a little bit closer, but it really took up until I was about 26 of just totally living I don't know how you could say it, just a really unhealthy life, just partying and definitely not on the path. But even while I was kind of in this self-destructive lifestyle, I would still practice health stuff. I remember I used to drink like wheatgrass juice and smoothies from the health food store. And I'm smoking like 2 packs of cigarettes a day. I'm partying like a maniac and playing in these rock and roll bands in Hollywood. This is like into my early 20s. And then I'd go get these like bitter melon juices. I don't know if you've ever tasted bitter melon. It's an herb, from the Amazon, and you can juice it, and it literally almost makes you pass out. It's so strong. So I'd be all hungover and I'd go get like a bitter melon juice. So it's like I had these 2 lives going on where I'm really unhealthy and just eating the most toxic food and, drinking tons of alcohol and just really like on a road to destruction. But at the same time, I kind of had one toe in the water of this awareness of health, and even at that time, somewhat of an awareness of spirituality and things like that. And eventually what ended up happening was I just became so riddled with depression, anxiety, lack of energy, just anger. I was so resentful, so hostile toward other people, toward myself. I mean, I was just a very emotionally and physically dysfunctional person. And so, in my mid 20s, I kind of just hit this brick wall in the depths of my own personal hell and sought help. And then around 26, I just started on this road to recovery kind of in every way, beginning with really developing, some awareness of spiritual practices and meditation, and picking up spiritual books and teachers and just researching and practicing that. And then along with that, becoming more physically healthy. And that's been a journey of 25 years of perfecting that from being a soy-based vegetarian, that was really sick. And, I had like a 5-year period where I basically lived off soy and gluten because I, heard that meat was bad for you and, whatever. There's been a lot of misadventures and a lot of dead ends that I've tried in terms of improving my health and just general well-being and my mentality. But I have managed to uncover a lot of stuff that works. And so as I lived in Hollywood and worked in the entertainment industry as a fashion stylist and playing music and stuff like that, I started just kind of coaching friends and sharing my discoveries with them. And that leads me up to today, all these years later, where I have a fashion school that I run. I'm a CEO of a company called School of Style, and that's kind of my day job. And then I have this newly blossomed business, which is coaching people and helping people discover, a better lifestyle. I'm a lifestylist, and that's what my podcast is called.
Yeah, and your podcast is over at Luke Storey, STOREY.com, where everyone can get signed up for that podcast too.
Thank you for that. Yeah, so now it's about helping people add all of these different practices and elements into their life in a, the word holistic is kind of played out, but there's no other way to say it. It's kind of a fully integrated system where you're looking at sleep, your water, what you're cooking with, the products you use to clean your house, what you put on your body, the interior of your car, the mattress that you sleep on, your meditation practice, mindfulness, looking at spiritual principles, just how you deal with emotional stress and all of this kind of stuff, how you find a connection to whatever your interpretation of God is, for lack of a better term. And I think it's just a great time because so many people are becoming interested in just becoming more healthy mentally, physically, spiritually, even before I find they have to hit a real bottom and a brick wall. I mean, I have people that are pretty high functioning, clients and friends, and I look at them, they seem fine, but they kind of see this crazy stuff that I'm up to, and they're like, well, tell me a little bit about that. I'm like, what's wrong? And they go, I don't know, I'm happy, but I want to be happier. I want more. I think it's a really good sign that people are interested in being optimized, not just like, well, I guess I'm okay. I got a job, wife, husband, white picket fence, kid, car, I'm secure, everything's cool. I think on some level we know that it's not cool, that there's more. There's more, self-expression available. So that's what brought me up to here was a lot of pain and suffering, and a lot of guinea pigging, kind of like Tim Ferriss. I think he has this great line on his show. I think it's like, don't try this at home. Let me try it first.
Yeah.
Something like that. Someone told me, I was like, I get that,
I like that.
I'm willing to go in and, do the coffee enemas, the ionic foot baths, the float tanks, whatever to expand my kind of awareness and consciousness and find out what has a lasting effect and then try and pass that on to people.
That's cool. And you mentioned to me how important diet was. I know you mentioned, I think it was the GAPS diet was a big one for you, kind of pulling you out of it. And you were partying a lot. You were doing a lot of, I think you mentioned drugs. You were kind of burning the candle at both ends. How important was the diet piece to kind of your recovery?
Well, it's funny. I wish that, as I was just getting sober really and learning how to function without the crutch of drugs and alcohol in my life, which was for a long time, honestly, like a really great way to cope. It's
Yeah.
like you're angry, go to the bar.
Yeah.
A few pints later, I'm like, what was I worried about? I forget. It's fine. It's like, I think, I had a lot of fun and had some really crazy adventures and a lot of psychedelics too. I mean, I had a lot of spiritual experiences that were very real exploring the psychedelic realm. And so, there was some value in it, but at a point, as I said, it got bad. But unfortunately, at the time when I really became willing to find a more meaningful life in every way and started just, wanting something more out of life, the health scene back then was very much geared towards, vegetarianism and veganism and things like that. So that's kind of the route that I went, and raw food and all this kind of stuff. This is back in the mid to late 90s. And this is like when people thought like, soy products were good for you, like fake meat and stuff like that. But the main problem that I had, and what I know now that I didn't know then, was that I was totally dependent on glucose for energy. And for someone that's in recovery that has a brain that's literally Swiss cheese from God knows how many chemicals and, days in a row of not going to sleep, literally, just like talk about burning the candle, burning everything at both ends, and figuratively and literally, then to come off that and then to live on sugar, essentially. So my moods in the beginning, when I first started this journey, my moods were so erratic, and my emotions and just my mental state was so precarious and so kind of flammable. I was always in fight or flight because unknowingly I was just living off carbs. I mean, all I ate was pasta, bread, candy, ice cream. I mean, it's like, that was my version of health food, was just like 100% carb diet.
And now it's switched because you're using a lot more fat and
Oh,
ketones.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I eat carbs very sparingly, and I'm pretty picky about what I eat. And what I've found in the past few years really is how much more mentally and emotionally stable I am throughout the day in terms of mood swings and sudden outbursts, because I'm really not spiking my blood sugar. I'm not fucking around with my with my insulin.
Yeah.
I mean, sugar is probably my weak spot. At night I'll tend to crave sugar, and I'll down like a whole pint of acai with raw cane juice in it or something. So I would like to say that I'm a champion and I'm totally sugar free. I'm not. I have my moments, and I'm very patient and loving with myself about my diet. I really don't want to be too controlling and freaked out about it, because that's a whole other neurosis. But I have to say that the diet piece for me has mainly been getting off of a high carb diet and a high sugar diet, and avoiding gluten and soy, and avoiding things that are inflammatory. Because when something, I mean, this stuff better than I do. It's like, I didn't know for years I was eating a totally inflammatory diet, and that my brain was literally inflamed. And it's like, Scott, it's amazing that I actually managed to kind of get my shit together and, have, even a chance at sobriety and a sense of well-being, because, like I said, my moods just fluctuated so much. I was so crazy because I had no fat. This was in the low fat days. This is like the mid 90s, late 90s, where fat was still the bad guy. I mean, cholesterol and eggs would kill you. And, there's all this misinformation and propaganda regarding diet.
Yeah. I mean, the diet, nutritional, element is huge, especially the fats, because like you said, the 80s, the 90s, that low fat propaganda was really, really prolific. So we kind of applied those things, and you notice big improvements with your life. You also mentioned a little bit about coffee enemas. I'm just kind of curious your application with them. I don't do them too much with patients. I know the value of them. I think they're a great, physiological detox, because you can stimulate the gallbladder and the liver to dump a whole bunch of, toxins into that coffee that's in your colon, and then basically get out of that fetal position, go to the toilet, and have that toxins just come and expel right out of you really fast. What's been your experience with the coffee enema element?
That's funny. Well, actually, I'll back that up by just, no pun intended, I'll back that up by just saying, actually, you know what? That was one of the very beginnings of my physical healing and recovery, where I stopped getting, dude, I used to be, my immune system was so trashed from living through my teens and 20s. I had the flu all the time. I had colds all the time. I was so toxic. And really the first thing I did, and I have to give credit to Dr. Richard Schultz, who's kind of an old school American. He studied under Dr. Christopher. He's like into the American herbs, like American home soil, kind of local.
Was that him?
Local was cool.
Did he do the Schultz colon cleanse? Was that him?
Yeah, exactly. So he's got a company called American Botanical Pharmacy, which is strangely kind of underground. Like a lot of celebrities, it's in Venice. A lot of celebrities shop there, and it's an online business. But he's for some reason kept everything in-house. You can't buy his stuff at Whole Foods, or it's only just direct to consumer, right? But a friend of mine that I played in a band with, Greg Stewart, he worked there, and he's the one that first turned me on to Dr. Schultz. And Dr. Schultz, number one thing that he'd start you with was getting you regular. And his whole thing was about getting your colon working. And so he would do that through these bentonite clay cleanses, where essentially you'd stop yourself up with all this clay, then take all this, what's that? Caris agarda, I forget the name of the herb, senna leaf, stuff like that, senna leaf pod, like really pretty harsh laxative herbs.
Natural laxatives,
where dude, you're like in your car on the freeway
it's like,
at 3 o'clock, and you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm just soiling my seat. I mean, it was like sudden impact, emergency EMP landing type stuff. And but his system worked, and then followed by that, there was a series of colonics and stuff. So I got to say, and this is something that's so important, and I think it's kind of gone out of vogue, because who wants to talk about their butt and poop? It's just like not sexy. It's cooler to talk about, coconut oil or whatever.
I know, right?
So, but the beginning of like my health really was doing juice fast, juice cleanses, sugar-free juices, just straight green juices. I did one once for 21 days. I went to a place called Angel Farms on the Big Island in Hawaii for 14 days. I did 12 days of colonics with something called a Kalima board, which is a gravity-fed form of colonics. So it's very gentle and it's very deep, and it literally took about 11 days to get to the very end of the colon. So in the first few days, a bunch of weird stuff comes out. People have these like earthworm-looking parasites that pour out. I mean, they keep it all in a bathtub so you can look at it. It's disgusting.
Wow.
But you want to know, and people had little like crayfish-looking shit coming out of them. I mean, just like the weirdest creatures. I didn't have any of that. I just had old black, like Matchbox cars. I don't know, stuff I ate when I was a kid, they were in there. And I thought, and then the water would go clear. And this was so shocking. The water would go clear for me, like around day 9, where, you'd look in afterward and it was just whatever, you only would eat smoothies and soup. Oh. And then you'd get on this board for 2 hours a day, and the water had ozone in it. It had all these great herbs in it. And on day 9, my water had gone clear. And I told the woman who ran it, Cindy, I was like, dude, I think I'm done. I'm good. I'm just going to go, play on the beach. She's like, nope, come back tomorrow. There's more. And I'm like, this lady's crazy. Sure enough, day 10, this black, and I'm sorry, you listeners, if you want to tune out right now, if you have a queasy stomach, hit the mute button. But I mean, just this black, essentially like tar came out for the next 2 days. And so I think by day 12 or 13, it had gone truly clear. And I tell you, man, from that point, that changed everything. And then I would do just periodic, 3 day in a row colonics, just kind of standard colonics and stuff like that at clinics here in LA. And
that was just a regular based colonic you did over on Hawaii?
In Hawaii, it was called a Kalima board, which I actually bought one of those myself. I still have it. It looks like a big blue surfboard, and essentially it's gravity fed rather than pressure fed.
So is it on an incline? Are you inclined
exactly.
up on it? Okay.
Exactly. And so, no, actually, your body's not inclined. It's just that the bucket is elevated. So it's got just gravity pressure. I see. You're actually laying flat with your butt at a slight incline. And then it's a very narrow, kind of like a Bic pen size tube. And again, sorry guys, I guess if they're listening to your show, they can handle it, right?
They can handle it. Yeah.
We're not on Oprah or something, but it's essentially like a Bic pen about that thick. And then it has 2 little holes in the end, and it goes quite deep inside you, like all the way up into, I guess what's the very end of your colon? The transverse? No, not transverse. It's descending.
Descending. It probably goes up obviously the rectum to the sigmoid part.
There you go. There you go.
Descending. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. So it goes way up there, and it just gently allows the water in there, and then you don't like hold the water. So it's much less obtrusive than a water pressure based colonic, where you have a bigger tube, more water, and the water's forced in with pressure. So there's no pressure, and you don't hold the water on a Kalima board. The water just gently runs in and out.
And this is similar to what you do with your coffee enemas too?
Well,
Would you do your coffee enemas that way too?
getting to the coffee enema, so I found out about those years and years later. And by the way, if you're going to do a coffee enema, word from the wise, make sure that you cool the coffee.
Yeah. You don't want to burn your colon.
Yeah, that's not fun. I've kind of come close to doing that. But, I found out about that way later in the game. So, it took years to get my digestion really working right. And, through using HCl and enzymes and, just all sorts of stuff to get my bile production up and all that stuff. But I don't really do the colonic thing anymore. But by the time I got to the coffee enema, it was more just kind of an add-on, and it's something that I understood, the basics of how it worked. And so many reputable, really smart people recommended it. And I'm just the kind of guy that I'll try anything. Here's what I learned about the coffee enema. And that was a very long history of colonics. But I think it's really important for people listening to understand you can't miss this piece. It's like, dude, if you could be taking the best adaptogenic herbs and supplements and superfoods and cacao and goji berries and spirulina and fish oil and, krill, like whatever your bag is, DHA, out the yin yang. But if everything's just sitting in that pocket down there and just hanging out, you're bummed, dude. There's no way to become healthy because you're reabsorbing through the mucous membrane everything that your body's like saying, we're done with this, get this out. And it's just, I think it's something a lot of people miss. So to the coffee enema piece, it's not something that's become a regular thing. It's something I've experimented with at different times with actually not great results because I missed a key piece. So cooling the water down to body temperature. So
like right around 98 to 100 or so, right?
Yeah, is good. Okay. So that's a start. But the thing that I didn't know is you want to do a preliminary enema first to empty out, to make sure that you're empty, because it's really hard to hold the coffee. If you get the coffee in and you already kind of have a full house, it's rough, dude. And it's like, it's really, really hard to lay there on your side and hold that coffee enema in because it's quite a few ounces. I forget the recipe, but you're taking in a bit of coffee, like more than a cup.
Yeah.
And so I actually had a hard time with it until I learned that first you kind of have to clean house, then you let that coffee sit in there. But, it just becomes one of those things where I'm not having any acute issues that ring the bell of, there's toxicity or, impaired liver function or something like that. So it's not kind of part of my wheelhouse at the moment just because it's not that comfortable. And there's just things I would rather do with my time than put stuff up my butt.
Yeah, my mentor, Dr. Robert Rakowski, every time he'd always talk about coffee enemas, he'd always sing that Folgers commercial, except he'd do the best part of waking up is Folgers in your butt. And it was just like, awesome. It was just one of those things that always stuck with me and I can never forget it. So
yeah,
a lot of good value in coffee enemas.
I think there's a lot to it. I mean, there's enough research and it just makes sense, the biomechanics of it to me from my elementary understanding of the body. And it's one of those things I'm like, yeah, I should do that. But, it's just if I'm not in an urgent situation where something's really wrong, like if I were to come down with a cold or a flu or something like that, or, just had something seriously wrong, I think I would fast for a few days, do juices. I would do some colonics, probably throw in a coffee enema because there's a sign that something's amiss. For me personally, if I get like quote unquote sick, which happens very, very rarely. So when it does, I'm like, what the hell? I'm not doing something right here.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't believe the body is actually meant to get sick. I don't think that, especially degenerative illness, I don't really think that has to be part of your life. It's something that we've bought into because what we eat and drink actually causes it to happen. It's not like the body doesn't just start getting cancer for no reason because it's your turn. No, it's an abnormality. And so is any kind of, immune suppression or any kind of sickness to me is a sign that like, nah, I'm not doing something right. So that's when I'll break out the weird stuff like that. But it's not, I'm not waking up every day doing a coffee enema.
Got it. Now with your business, because you're doing a lot with style, you're also in LA, Hollywood, and you also work with a lot of clients that are pretty high end. And you're going into their houses, these people, celebrities, probably people, names that you'd know on TV. You're in their houses. You're basically detoxing their house, getting all the crap out of their cupboards, their cabinets, their fridge. What are some of the common mistakes or things you're seeing these people are doing, and how are you fixing it? What are some of the low-hanging fruit that people that have cupboards and fridges that are all messed up, what are some of the things you're doing? What are you seeing?
Well, this is how I got into this business is I'm working with people for years, styling celebrities, working in the entertainment industry in Hollywood. And I'm on this like extreme health path. I'm like meditating every morning. I'm listening to spiritual audiobooks. I'm going to yoga all the time. I'm, hiking. I'm in the outdoors. I'm going to the hot springs. I'm in the ocean. I'm on superfoods, herbs. And meanwhile, 20 years I'm doing this or however long at that time, I just figured the rest of the world is also doing that. You know what I mean? It's like when you live in that paradigm and my friends and family are living that type of lifestyle. And what was shocking is I would work with these celebrities and they walk in drinking a Diet Coke. And I'm sitting there going, resisting being that a-hole that's like, hey, do you know that aspartame is like, bleh?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I went through that phase and my friends are like, yeah, you were that a-hole, Luke. If anyone's listening to this, I admit it. I've gone through I'm the food police phase where I'm like, you order dinner and I'm sitting there like, okay. I'm nodding my head and looking at you with disgust. So that's not a very good approach. But what I noticed is people would walk in drinking Diet Coke and I'm thinking, okay, you just did a film and you got paid $41 million. Like, aren't you smart? Don't you have people around you that tell you that Diet Coke is literally rotting your brain? And so it started to become apparent to me that I could be very useful to people that are very talented and educated and worldly in many ways, but they just, because they haven't had something tragic happen, they don't really necessarily know. So what I'm finding is, as I do this, which is something I've done for friends for a long time, but it's relatively new, where I work with people on Skype or I go into their home, as I was telling you earlier, and do, I don't know what I'm going to call it. It's either called a home healing or a home invasion.
A home detox.
Yeah, home detox. But essentially, what I find the first line of defense is the first thing I'm going to look at is the water that they're drinking.
Huge, yeah.
A lot of people, man, they're using like a Brita filter. They're making baby formula with like Brita filtered tap water. It's just, it makes me insane. So
Fluoride's still there.
Yeah, and even expensive filtration systems oftentimes don't remove the fluoride, and then dude, I interviewed a guy the other day that has a really great filtration company, and we were talking about the pharmaceutical residues, the radioactive residues from people on chemo. I mean, dude, you don't want to put anything made with tap water. I don't care what kind of filtration it's been through. I ain't drinking tap water unless I'm in the desert dying. Okay. So first thing I do is just for bathing, and if somebody has a steam room or they like to take baths, I'll get them on a whole house filtration system that removes. In LA, we have chloramine, which is even worse than just straight chlorine. It's chlorine and ammonia, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, you vaporize that stuff in the shower. It's a gas chamber. Is it going to kill you one time? No. But how about thousands and thousands and thousands of showers,
Accumulation.
Yeah, the bioaccumulation of that stuff. So, and there's no test on what it does when you vaporize it and heat it either. It's like, it's deemed as safe to drink cold or put on your skin cold, but you're cooking it and breathing it. It's just gnarly. Yeah. So the first thing I'll do is get people's home water filtered, then get them drinking spring water. In Southern California, it's great because I have, a friend, my friend Makunde, I can't remember the name of his business ever because I just know his name, Fountain of Truth Proof. I'll send it to you if you want to put it in the show notes, but he delivers amazing spring water to people here. And you can even get Mountain Valley or Castle Rock, water delivered. So the drinking water, the bathing water is the number one thing because most people have no clue, or they're drinking like RO water, reverse osmosis water, or they're drinking distilled water, which even like the World Health Organization has stated that leaches minerals out of your body. So, most people just don't have a clue about water, and they don't understand that just the bioelectric system that our meat suit is, that how crucial the type of water and the energy of that water is putting in your body. So that's number one. And then what I'm finding is, as I said, I'm like shocked that everyone isn't up to speed on this, but I'm finding a lot of people, dude, they have a lot of MSG in their house still because they don't understand that monosodium glutamate is cloaked with all these hidden names. I mean, there's an actual conspiracy to keep this stuff in food, to keep food addictive by the big food companies. It's like you have big pharma and you have big food. And so there's all these names, like the one that people don't know about a lot. And it's not 100% of the time MSG, but one of the main ones is called spices. Dude, if you're eating a food that has spices in it, then it would say oregano, thyme.
Say what the spices are.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, it'd say like organic oregano, organic pepper, salt, whatever. So if something has spices, yeah, it's pretty suspect. And then there's, yeast extract. There's all these sneaky names that they use. So even if someone's aware of, MSG or monosodium glutamate, there's all kinds of hidden additives, which are really, really dangerous. And so so there's that piece. Then there's the artificial sweetener
I
piece.
just want to add one thing there too.
Yeah.
For my one of my stocking stuffers that my brother-in-law got me for Christmas just 2 weeks ago was some barbecue spices. And he kind of knows, how my inclinations towards health and all these things. So he's in Kansas City, and there's big barbecue in Kansas City, right? So he's in one of these big barbecue stores, and he's looking for a barbecue spice that does not have added sugar and MSG. He told me out of the whole store, he only found one spice out of hundreds, if not thousands, that was sugar-free and MSG free. And I couldn't believe it. This is, Kansas City, Missouri, right? This is like barbecue capital of the world. So it's really tough to find these things.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's funny you mentioned barbecue sauce, because the last home invasion, I'm just going to call it a home invasion, because with most clients, that's what it is. I mean, I'm literally nuking their entire kitchen and really the whole house by the time you get to the EMFs and then no VOC paint and ripping out the synthetic carpet and everything else. I mean, it really is like potentially a whole remodel. But yeah, this one particular client who will remain unnamed to protect his anonymity, it was so crazy how addicted he was to MSG, and particularly liquid smoke flavoring and barbecue sauce. Those are the two things. I was taking them out of the cabinet, and I look at it, I go, nope, out of here. Corn syrup, MSG, just nasty poison that I mean, literally, you couldn't force me to drink it. If you were like interrogating me, I mean, that would be a way to help me give up the secret password or the combination to the safe is like, make me drink that barbecue sauce.
Oh, especially liquid smoke. It's terrible.
Oh, dude. So, but what was crazy is you could really see the neurological mechanism of that addiction at work. He literally said to me, and I'm going to go back there with the film crew and we're going to reenact it because my guys couldn't make it that day because it was so golden. He said, I'm putting it in this bin. He goes, let me just get one more smell.
Oh yeah, he told me this.
Let me just have one more smell, man. Oh, can I just smell it once more before you get rid of it? I mean, he was like a junkie.
One more hit.
Barbecue
one more
sauce.
hit.
Yeah, dude. I was like, I relate to that. I mean, I've been there. I understand. Not necessarily for barbecue sauce, but I know that, that compulsion. So those are some of the big ones. And then it's just like amazing that we're in this paradigm even where, and I know a lot of the people listening to your show, they're like, duh, I'm not eating MSG or, you have a pretty savvy audience because you go deep into this stuff, but it's still astonishing to me that like people have anything in their home, in their fridge or their cabinets that's not organic.
Right.
I mean, to me, it's that we live in this paradigm where you can justify spraying poison on food and then you eat the poisonous food. Like, to me, that's just so weird. Why would you do that if you have options? Now, that said, the other side of it is, I give myself a pass. I eat out probably 2 or 3 nights a week, and I don't know that everything's organic and doesn't have canola oil or whatever, and I love it. I enjoy it. I bless the food. I bless myself, and it's amazing. And I love that flexibility.
But you're still probably eating real food, though. You're not eating synthetic.
Oh, yeah. No. I'm eating
avoiding the chemical stuff.
For sure. Yeah. I'm eating farm to table, like really good quality food. I'm not out at Jack in the Box, But I'm not going to be that guy who's like, I need to see what kind of oil you're using. I know they're using canola oil, even at a good restaurant. They're not using ghee in the kitchen. You know what I mean? So that's a big one with clients is the artificial sweeteners, the MSG, and then of course all the seed oils, all the vegetable oils, the inflammatory omega-6, rancid, disgusting, oxidized oils. I mean, it's like we have a store here called Ralph's in LA, and that's kind of your like low end, just average grocery store. And I'll go through like the cooking oil aisle, and there's these huge jugs of canola oil, And I'm tripping out. I'm like, really? Doesn't everyone know that this is so toxic? Like, you'll feel it. But if your base level is already, you have no energy and you're run down and you're inflamed and you have this base level of toxicity, I mean, I guess you don't feel it if you chug some canola oil, Me, my body's become so sort of refined and sensitive in a way that I do my best to avoid that stuff because it really impairs my performance.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that people are very largely unaware of, and again, we're talking about people that have the money to fix this stuff,
Right.
is the cookware that they're using. They're using Teflon still. They're cooking in aluminum. They're cooking in inferior amalgam metals that are quote unquote stainless steel. They have no idea that they're actually heating and cooking their food and infusing it with really toxic heavy metals. Then there's the EMF piece. There's the blue light piece. You know, when I go into people's offices, I'm like, and you work in here until 1 a.m. This place is like lit up more blue than a hospital operating room, you know? It's just like, and no wonder you're not sleeping, you know? It's there's all these cascading issues that result from just really your home environment, you know? So I would say those are probably the top issues that I run into and try and just get to the root of first.
So just to kind of recap it, we got a lot of the refined vegetable oils, which we know get rancid and create a lot of free radicals in the body. We got the refined sugar, we got the aspartame and the MSG, and then also kind of the lighting environment. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the lighting environment, and then also just the EMF load, the EMF pressure in one's house. I mean, you know, oh man.
Do you have any EMF filters at all?
You know, I don't have filters. What I do to mitigate it for the most part is everything's grounded. I have a grounding pad under my feet right now. My computer is actually grounded through a USB cable. I've got a grounding like half sheet at the foot of my bed. So that's the way I do it. And if you take like a skin test EMF meter and you touch it to your skin when you're grounded, it actually neutralizes the EMFs. But I live in an apartment now. I was living in a house where I had no Wi-Fi signals, no smart meters, no cell towers close by. Now I live in the thick of the city. And dude, if you turn on, like I turn my laptop, there's like 45 Wi-Fi signals, you know, so.
You see them all lined up, right?
Yeah,
in your network?
It's just crazy. When I moved in here, I couldn't sleep for about the first 2 months very well. And it could be psychosomatic. I don't know. Maybe I'm paranoid of EMFs, but I've gotten a little bit more used to it, but I keep my Wi-Fi router on a timer, so it's only on. Actually, I manually turn it on if someone comes to visit, but I'm hardwired when I do my work. But if I do leave it on, it's on a timer, so it goes off when I go to sleep. But there's not a lot I can do right where I'm situated. We're lucky enough we're half lucky. We have smart meters in LA, and you know, if people listening to this show, man, there's a documentary you have to watch. And I'd love if you put this in the show notes. I have no motive other than to just enlighten people.
Let's hear it.
There's a documentary film you can stream online for about $4, and it's called Take Back Your Power. And it's primarily focused on smart meters, but there's a lot of coverage on cell towers and just EMF exposure in general. But man, I gotta say, smart meters are one of the worst threats to our culture and civilization and health, man. I mean, they are so dangerous. And we're lucky in LA in that we do have smart meters here, but we're not on a grid because the public awareness was high enough that we actually petitioned against the grid, but so they have individual meters. And for those of you listening, if you don't know what this means, the old meters were analog meters, and so they don't generate radioactive frequencies, like radio frequencies. The little meter maid would come by and like read the meter and write it down, right? It's old school. Very labor intensive and expensive for the municipalities, right? I can see why you'd want something that just transmit the home usage signal to a master computer. Right. And then there's two other levels of smart meter. What we have, at least in LA and Hollywood, is we have smart meters. They're digital. They look like a digital clock. So if you go on the side of your house and look at your meter, if it looks like a digital clock instead of a bunch of little, old school analog clocks, you have a smart meter. Whether or not you're hooked up to the grid really matters. The meters we have here, they still have to send someone out to read the meter, and they just scan it digitally, and they can tell your usage so that they can charge you. But when you're in a town or even a county or city that's on a grid, what happens is each meter on each building is transmitting a signal up to 900 times as powerful in terms of radiation exposure as a cell phone. So if you have a smart meter on the back of your bedroom wall, you essentially have 900 cell phones transmitting every few seconds to this master computer. So a few miles away, there will be these receivers on the phone poles, and that's the grid, right? And then those phone pole receivers transmitted even stronger signal to the master receiver, wherever the municipality kind of, headquarters are or whatever, right? I'm explaining this in very basic terms. Point is, this radiation is extremely powerful and extremely harmful to your DNA. And that's not a psychosomatic, like tinfoil hat paranoia thing. This is like, go up to a smart meter, prick your finger, do a live blood analysis, look at your blood cells before, during, and after exposure for 1 minute in front of a smart meter. And you will see in this film, they do that and in many other experiments, and your blood cells are toast. And what you're made of is cells, So, there's things you can do to mitigate that. There's, legal actions you can take to prevent that from being on your home. But I find there's things like this that the general public is, and clients that I work with are unaware of. And that thing's sitting, next to your office wall, or like I said, your bedroom wall, and you're having all of these seemingly unrelated health issues. You might be totally organic, vegan, paleo, whatever, doing everything right, and you still can't sleep. You have headaches, mood swings, hormonal imbalances, all sorts of issues, because it's not just general EMF exposure like we all kind of get used to. This is acute, powerful radioactive signals being blasted into you.
Yeah, I actually have an EMF meter at my house, or a EMF smart meter kind of thing at my house. And I just found this out over the summer. My buddy's got a really high quality EMF meter that picks cell phone towers. It picks everything up. And we did some kind of studying around it, kind of like Ghostbusters. We were kind of following it from different angles and seeing how far the EMF went out. And mine's actually in my garage. So it's about 30 or 40 feet from my house. And when you go up within 10 to 20 feet, it's pretty active. But for me, I was able to do it when I was in my house. I could not detect anything with the meter. But some people, if they have it right up against their office or a room that they're in, it can be really a big issue. There's some things you can get that you can put over it that will help spread it, keep it kind of more isolated and such.
Right.
But then you got your neighbor the next door. So if you got, some good land between you, that's okay. In Texas, we got some land, but other places you're right up close. My buddy lives in a big, sky rise, and I went to the back of it, and there was like maybe 20 smart meters all stacked up. And I'm like, and it's all in this one room. And I'm like, that poor guy that's behind that EMF smart meter has no idea what's happening.
Oh, it's crazy, man. Yeah. And you're fortunate that your signal's not, that strong. And as you said, well, see, there's the smart meters also have different strengths. So there are some smart meters that can transmit up to 30 miles away. So if you're 30 feet away from one of those, because the grid is further out, then they need to put a stronger transmitter on your building. So you might not need that strong of a transmitter, and
Right.
that you might not even be on a grid. It could be the kind like I have here in LA.
Right.
I haven't tested it with a meter because I'll start obsessing and I'll go crazy because I can't change it. It's not on my building. On my building, I put these little notes on. We have a bank of like 4 smart meters on the side of the building. I put a little note like, by law, you cannot put a smart meter here. F you. Like, I will sue
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I literally did that. I'm nuts, but listen, man, I care about my health. It's like,
Exactly.
I there's so many things that you can't control. You got to just live your life and be happy and as free as you can. But if there's something I can do something about, and you're right, you can. Actually, I think they sell them on Amazon now. There's these little smart meter blockers. They're around $30 or $50. They're made of like Mylar or like a screen kind of mesh, and they're super easy. And you can just cap your smart meter, and it eliminates up to 99% of the exposure, which is really cool.
Smart
Like you
meter
said,
guard RF. Smart
there you
meter
go.
guard RF on Amazon.
There you go. Yeah. But if you live in a building that has a bank of them and it's next to your apartment or your unit, dude, you better move. Like,
Get out of there.
Yeah, it's intense. If you watch that movie, I mean, it sounds like crazy talk for people that, that this stuff sounds crazy to. But when you see the empirical evidence and the anecdotal stories of, say, someone who, in that film, there's someone who lived in a dorm that had a cell tower on top of the building. So they're like within feet of that cell transmission tower, and brain tumors just over and over and over again. It's a very predictable result. Brain tumor, brain tumor, brain tumor. It's just our biology is not set up to withstand that level of radiation on an ongoing basis. You can drive by a cell tower. Oh, there it was. It's gone. But to live next to one, it's like I see office buildings in LA where there'll be a huge bank of the, those cell transmitters. And then it's like on top of someone's office. Like their office window, their computer is 6 to 10 feet away from those things. It's like I want to put like copies of that film in their mailbox when I drive. I'm like, oh my God, it's so sad they don't know, and they're gonna, potentially come down with a brain tumor and think that it's because they ate fried chicken their whole life. It's like, dude, you're getting your brain cooked.
And what's that film called again?
It's called Take Back Your Power.
Take Back Your Power. And yeah, God forbid you're eating fried chicken and next to a smart meter. It's like your chance is so much higher. And I know anecdotally, a lot of neurosurgeons will tell you that, the older cell phones had the external antenna. Now we have internal antennas, but that typically the tumors would be on the side of the person's the cell phone that they would talk on, right next to their ear, above that temporal area of their skull. And it would be in the shape or in about the size of that antenna. So
wow.
It's anecdotal, but that's been, notated by many neurosurgeons.
Yeah. Yeah. I recently got a case that, according to their claims, mitigates a lot of the radiation. It's called a Pong case, Pong. And this, what it does, it sort of actually boosts your antenna too, but it sends the signal away from the front of the phone. So it sends the radiation out the back of the phone away from, I always talk on a speakerphone and try to keep it, a couple feet in front of my face. But that's great because it doesn't look stupid and ugly. Like a lot of the cell phone protection devices is some little crystal with the, sacred geometry thing on it. It's like really corny. You don't know if it works. There's no test done on it. It's like all energetic. It might work. I believe in that stuff to a degree, but they also just look hideous on your phone. This looks like a normal, like sleek kind of modern case. So it's much easier sell. And in fact, some of my friends begrudgingly got that as a Christmas gift this year. They're like, really, dude? You're just trying to like control me and you're using a gift to do it, which may have been true.
But it'll at least help benefit their health. If they don't get a brain tumor in 20 years, then they can come back and thank you.
Yeah, I hope so.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, right?
Yeah, and even the blue light filters now, there's quite a few brands that you can find on Amazon. I think Bulletproof makes one as well. But there are these great blue light filters that you can put on your cell phone too, and they don't look weird or ugly. You can still see blue color on your phone, like for, editing photos or things like that. But it just doesn't emit as much blue light. So, there's all kinds of little gadgets coming out as the public awareness grows. The demand for these kind of products is growing. And what's awesome is people see that there's a monetary incentive there as a company. Like, I just saw the other day, like Lay's potato chips that were organic. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And they're still really nasty. They were still cooked in, I think it was sunflower oil, which is, I wouldn't want to eat that, but it's a good sign when you have organic food in Walmart, and cell phone companies are now putting out these, anti-radiation products and stuff. It's a good sign that we're moving in the right direction, and we can still take advantage of the technology and have the conveniences and this instantaneous communication around the planet without totally destroying ourselves in the process.
Yeah, my new 30-inch ViewSonic monitors here, they have a little button on it that I hit and it knocks out the blue light.
No way.
Yeah. So
it came like that stock?
Yeah. They were advertising on Amazon for that. So I'm like, perfect. I know Asus makes one. This is ViewSonic. It's like $205 for a 28-inch. And there's a little feature on it where you hit it and it knocks out the blue light.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah, I'm on a Mac, so I'm using that Flux app.
Oh yeah, Flux. Yep.
Yeah, I'm using that. If anyone, it's a free app, and what it does is it reads your time zone, and when it's dusk in the geographic location you're in, it makes your computer turn to dusk too.
That's good too.
Which is cool, but it kind of sucks when you're watching a movie or something, on your laptop, or you're watching Netflix. You're like, okay, here everything's turning yellow.
There we go.
But I've gotten used to it. I have my whole house, and this is something I do for clients too. Is a great solution. Is my whole house is wired where I have in every room 2 different lighting setups. So I have like bright blue lights. I use full spectrum incandescent bulbs. When I want blue light, I try to avoid fluorescent or LED because they're lacking the natural full spectrum of sunlight. And then I'll have different switches and different lighting setups in every room, which has all amber bulbs. So it's pretty cool. I'm able to avoid the blue light and not be a total freak and walk around the house with my blue blockers on every night.
Totally hear you.
It's not very conducive to dating. It's hard to explain in the first couple meetings.
Absolutely. So with all these things we've talked about today, all the lifestyle hacks that you're utilizing with your clients and all the things that you utilize yourself, what's one thing that the listeners here today could do and apply that would help them just perform better?
We've talked a lot about outward practices, stuff
Hmm.
involving your body and what you put in it and what you put on and what you expose it to. And that's definitely an important piece. But for me, the number one is being mindful of my mentality and detoxing from negative emotions and negative thoughts. And this is like, honestly, personally, my life's work is to develop a deeper sense of who I really am outside of my emotions and my thinking. And this, goes into meditation, I guess you could say, as one of the primary ways that I've been able to work on that within myself, to where a negative emotion arises, a negative thought arises, and oftentimes I'm able to actually spot it and witness it as, I don't know how to say this, but sort of a phenomenon outside of me and who I really am. They call this in Buddhism the witness state, right?
Yeah.
So developing a sense of oneself that's something other than thoughts and emotions and those lower states of ego, or the lower states of kind of your animal survival self. And so I would say detoxing from negative emotions and thinking is the number one goal for me in my life, because I think that you could cheat a bit on your diet. You can give yourself a little bit of leeway, but for me personally, I can't give myself much leeway in terms of energizing negativity, fear, anxiety, envy, resentment, hostility toward other people, jealousy, self-condemnation, shame, guilt, just those lower states of emotion that are so sticky and so tempting for some of us. I think, finding your own spiritual means by which to overcome those things and work on those things, the number one, as within, so without, starting on the inside. And then there's a positive cascade or domino effect that when you feel better emotionally and you have more of a sense of connection, then I think it's easier to not eat the chicken McNuggets and do the green smoothie. It just they start to feed each other, where you feel better about who you are and you have more self-respect and self-love, and you start to treat the vehicle a little better too.
I like it. Yep. Keep those good positive thoughts coming. How do you fret out though? Because sometimes things happen in our lives that, hey, we all got to pay our taxes, right? That's something that we can maybe consider negative, but we got to do it. There's things that we have to do that we may consider negative, but we got to at least internalize it so we can take action. How do you fret out things that are just, a negative thought that you can kind of sidestep versus something that may be negative, but we got to do something about it, because if not, there'll be repercussions.
Yeah, don't get me started on taxes. There's another great documentary you can watch on that. It's called America, Freedom to Fascism, directed by
Aaron Russo.
Aaron Russo. There you go. Yeah. That's a good one. No, for me, I sort of categorize life events and things that happen to me, or that I perceive to be happening to me, in three categories, and that is, can I accept it? Can I really surrender to this event or this truth? Is there something I can do to change it, or is it something that I need to reject? So say, like, in terms of a relationship with someone, you're having a problem in a relationship and, it seems like there's no way around that. Well, I might be able to change it by having a talk with that person and trying to communicate with them and improve our relationship somehow. But chances are I can't change another person. I can only change my own perception of that. So say I realize that I can't change that person. They are who they are. Then it's a matter of, well, can I accept them wholeheartedly and lovingly the way that they are into my life and not be insane? Or do I need to reject them? And this could be any problem. And oftentimes I find that it's a matter of my own inner acceptance and letting go of control and letting go of the insanity of trying to control things that are totally beyond my control. And then in some cases, there are situations where I just have to reject it. Like, I have to quit the job. I have to drop the client. I have to end a relationship or a friendship or whatever it might be. It's like I recently had a car, and I put a lot of money into it in the last year. It was an old car. It was like 10 years old. And I just kept accepting it every time it broke down. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to surrender. I won't feed this negativity. I'm just going to pay the bill. And it's a few $100. It's a couple $1,000s. And it started adding up. And at one point I thought, you know what, this is kind of bothering me. Let me look into it. And I did the numbers, and I found that it didn't make sense that I was putting that much. In other words, I could buy a new car and have a car payment for the same price. So at that point, I made a decision that, no, I shouldn't be accepting this situation. I should reject it, get rid of this car, and start anew. So I think coming to a decision about which of those 3 choices I'm going to make has been really crucial for me.
Like it, man. I appreciate the mindset. I think everyone needs a mindset reboot, especially with the new year here. I think it's great, and mindset helps drive good health choices, so I like it. And then everyone can get a hold of you, Luke, lukestorey.com with the EY at the end. Any other places people can find out your stuff or get a hold of your stuff?
That's where my main site is. And then on iTunes, hopefully by the time this show comes out, I will have my podcast up, which is called The Life Stylist Podcast with Luke Storey. And I'm also pretty big on social media. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Luke Storey. And my favorite social media channel is probably Instagram, because I'm kind of a visual guy. I like, documenting all of my crazy biohacking adventures and misadventures in the world. My Instagram handle is just my name, Luke Storey, as you said, with an EY. And then you can find me on Facebook too.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on the show today, Luke. It was great.
Thanks for having me, man. Great chat. I appreciate it, Justin. Hey, and I want to thank you too for helping my dad. He's really excited about the work you guys are doing. And, I just really appreciate that you're taking good care of him too.
You got it, Luke. Thanks so much.
Yep. Bye.
Got a question for Dr. J? Go to beyondwellnessradio.com and click the questions button. Then tune in to hear the answer. Also, if you like the show, click below to review us on iTunes. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to beyondwellnessradio.com.